Alright everybody, you know me, I know you. This is going to be a little bit different from normal. I've just recorded one, but to be fair, I kind of just ranted on for an hour. I'm pretty mad, and I think that you should be too, and I'm going to cover why. Let's dive straight into this. We have a tweet here from this morning. A reminder, please reference Gitter for official DigiByte development projects and bounties. Any other discussion on other channels is unofficial. We want to adhere to a transparent process that follows the contribution guidelines with PRs and reviews. Now, I think this is horseshit for starters. And in fact, I think that they should be apologizing for insinuating what is or is not official, especially given we are in a decentralized and permissionless blockchain. I'm sure as shit not the official support. I'm not official in any way, shape, or form. Jared sure as shit isn't official. The people that are behind this Twitter account, there's 4 of them that I know of, are also not official. The DigiByte Foundation are not official. I mean, they are DigiByte Foundation, into which they're an entity until themselves because they've incorporated it, so good on them for that. I think that's cool. But they are not the official foundation as such, and we've encouraged actively more foundations and supporting entities all along. The DigiByte awareness team is not the official awareness team either, but I think the main thing here, this is what I really take issue with, and why I think you should be pretty mad as well. Official DigiByte development projects and bounties. Any other discussion on other channels is unofficial. Who the fuck says so? Anyway, here's Gitter. We've currently got, there's 12 people in here at the moment. I could name every single one of them. It's been a bit of a ghost town, frankly. This was originally started all the way back in May. Jared made the first message in June. GTO90 started it all the way back. I think it was even early to mid-May, if memory serves me correctly, because I was fresh out of hospital, and I joined it. Jared awakened from his slumber, decided to say a message, and here we are. Now, before we get started on the next version of the protocol, let's start a thread discussing the merging of the upstream changes. So there is a good discussion here that goes back and forth, whole lot of things. I'm there, Barry's there, GTO90's there, but we haven't really said anything since the 18th of June. The problem is, so what we've got down here is, we've got a message on the same day. I just wanted to remind everyone that we are looking to merge upstream BTC 0.21 changes before we consider reviewing any pull requests for changes to the algorithms. I also believe that we have a shared interest in considering a pull request for a rebase against BTC 0.21 prior to any algorithm swaps. So first of all, who the fuck decided that that was going to be the way that things were going to go? I sure as shit didn't. And I made that very well known up here as well. I talk about it, and I talk about the changes and things. I say it's odd that we haven't had any review for the last 7 years, so we should go through with a fine-tooth comb regardless, because we know basically that DigiByte has bugs, it's got issues. If we have bug fixes to review, then we need atomic pull requests from each of them in isolation. This thread was created to discuss the merging of upstream BTC changes. Let's keep it focused. And I basically say, I agree. Like, we need to get shit sorted. It's specifically showing why we need a review of anything and everything, and that building on top of 7.17.3 is not a good idea. We have fixed the unit tests. If we didn't trust the unit tests, specifically around consensus and what makes DigiByte, we should have dealt with that at the time. As far as for rebasing on 0.21 goes, it gives us a known quantity, which is Bitcoin, to work from. Presumably because if the code's good enough for BTC, it's likely good enough for us, especially as we originally were based on that code. Now, this is the important part, actually. It's basically, we cannot presume our current stuff is bug-free because we know for a fact it is not. So starting from a known good base and checking the changes is probably faster, simpler, and easier than trawling through the whole entire version 7 codebase, which we should be doing if we're being prudent. The last thing that we need is an algorithm weighting issue, infinite supply problems, or leftovers from pre-SegWit when dealing with block size scaling code was hurriedly pulled. This is specifically why I mention it. All of those have been problems that we've dealt with, and we still have. So back in 2014, Jared and Gary, who were doing the work, weren't familiar with the change from a fixed block size to SegWit weighting. And as such, basically, the block size maximum was still left in there, despite being completely irrelevant at that point. They had to hurriedly pull all of the DigiSpeed scaling to basically make it work, because DigiSpeed was referencing block size maximums, not block weightings and things. So anyway, who decides what's official and what's not? This is the crux of the issue. Any official discussion on any other discussion on other channels is unofficial. And this is what I take most of an issue with. It's an issue because what we've got at the moment is not currently... We know that there's problems. Let's go and have a look at those problems. Where's DigiByte? Issues. Here we go. Let's have a look under issues. So this is one of the ones that I was referencing. Invalid supply curve. Now, I originally raised this issue back with Jared all the way in 2019 as being a problem. I said we were going to reach it sooner than we should have, and I also said that we got problems with our how much we're using as a subsidy. To which Jared said, Joe, you don't understand how block timings work. Joke's on him. I've since taken it to Matthew. Matthew was able to correct some of my math. My math was slightly off, which was great. Which is cool. I'm glad that he's... Yeah, here we go. This is referenced here. So Matthew has corrected my math. Again, though, even his was slightly off because it goes from 90 to 0. It doesn't actually go to 0. Big shout out to Matthew and huge thank you for this as well. Really appreciate him taking the time to go through this and actually take it seriously. Same for Yoshi here. The issue is if we carry on all the way down to here, why is the supply infinite? Basically what happens is when the reward becomes less than 1 DigiByte, we set it to 1 DigiByte. There's not a supply cap of precisely 21 billion DigiByte, and it will basically just keep on going and going and going, effectively growing by 5,760 a day. Yeah. So we know our current shit needs work. We've found this. We've found these issues, thanks to Yoshi for finding that as well. I found the supply curve issues to begin with and the emissions, so thank you to Matthew for the help there with fixing that up. So we know our current stuff needs work, and we know we need to fix it sooner rather than later, because the longer we kick this can down the road, it's already been almost 2 years now, the harder it's going to be to fix it. The issue is what makes it official and what makes it unofficial. Development projects and bounties. The only official ones being insinuated here by DigiByte Coin are the ones that are being done through here. I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing any bounties. I've also tried looking for the bounties that DigiByte Coin has raised over the last 4 years since I've been involved. I can't find any. There's not a single one of them. The issue here stems from this one. Let's talk about DigiByte version 8 and the fundraiser. Specifically where I mentioned down here, where are we? I paid out the bounties for Animix and Prog Pow in December of 2020 to Barry because he'd already done basically almost all of those. It was pretty much like 95% of the way done. We then need DigiByte version 8 development, 0.21. We talk about 0.21, and we come down here, finishing 0.21. This is what it's for. I've grabbed Barry's DigiByte address, which he's put in GitHub. I'd like to see us donating some DigiByte to him over the following couple of weeks. Finishing 0.21. This is most of what the donations are for or about. We also need some supply curve fixes, clearly. Schnorr and Taproot. Need to discuss those too. We've been talking about them for freaking ages now. I also just wanted to highlight there's a few other things that Barry's been doing, implementing memory improvements with from Yoshi and things. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. He's already done a whole bunch of stuff. I'd encourage you to donate directly to him too. This is his address directly. I'm not playing middleman here as I have in the past with all of the other ones. And in fact, at no point have I ever kept any funds whatsoever for any of the bounties. Speaking of historical bounties though, because again, please reference Gitter for official DigiByte development projects and bounties. You can tell I'm pretty mad here. We've done this one, Prog Pow. Here's a bounty. It was paid out to Barry. Why I believe Prog Power is the next step forward. Oh no, that was right. We didn't. There was no fundraiser there. It was just January the 5th. We've been talking about this for well over a year. Random X bounty. We raised that here as well. Venezuela. I mean, this is back in 2019. We did a whole bunch of stuff. Again, 2018, just at Christmas time, some more stuff, community lunches and that kind of thing. We helped out with a school, and we fixed it up so that the school could then offer lunches to kids and stuff. We helped out, we repaired a local hospital, fixed up the AC, fixed it up with the refrigerator so they could then hold vaccines and things. A mega developer bounty, we did a whole bunch of stuff in here. Trezor support, we're on Trezor. Colored coins was given to Gary, not Barry. That was paid out for Digi Assets. Digi Stats, that was paid out to Matthew. It's been replaced with something that I created myself, but, we paid him out. There was a whole bunch of them. First group installing and opening the DigiByte wallets. That was right. This was them. I remember that. That was so cool. We raised a whole bunch of funds for kids to basically pay for tablets and ruggedized cases for them and things. We donated it to a school. We also donated a bunch of things like tables, chairs, all of that stuff, like art supplies, all of the good stuff that you need when you're in school. This was the fundraising, why we want to go back, how much admin for overheads. There was actually none whatsoever. All of it went to them. Rah, where was it? Is this just a once-off? No, yeah, here we go. We fundraised there. We went back to Venezuela again. More than just donations. How can you contribute? That was right. Let's quickly watch this, because I don't think most people have actually seen this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mute myself, and we're just going to play this, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we did for Venezuela, because I think this is quite important, a bit of history. This is all the way back in the start of 2018 as well. So let's just bring this up.
So we went to the local Red Cross, we visited some of the children's orphanages and the community centers, and we just asked them what they need, and we asked them what's going on. And I was really lucky in this trip because DigiByte had given me a few $1,000s to go and spend, and the only instructions they told me was go and spend it where it's needed the most. So I converted the crypto into the local currencies. We were able to go and deliver around 1,000 bottles of water to the Red Cross. We delivered enough food to feed 160 children for 1 month, and we got a really good understanding of the community. So the one thing I kept hearing again and again from people was that they don't want handouts. They want solutions. They want progress. They want things to get better. In fact, a lot of these people would like to return to Venezuela if they just had a stable government. The problem right now is all of the news is bad. They feel like there is no hope. And when you don't have hope, what can you do? These people are economic refugees, not criminals. They're fleeing their country looking for hope and new opportunities. The current minimum wage in Venezuela is just $5. The economy is already decentralized and people are already using cell phones. If the cryptocurrency community can provide the education and tools, we can completely transform this economy and provide fairness, equality, and transparency using the blockchain, fulfilling a lot of the promises that we've been reading about in white papers.
Which I thought was pretty cool. I like that. So anyway, we did it. We did a fundraiser. We've done the DigiByte wallet UI revamp. We went through and we voted on all of them and things. That was quite cool. Announcing the DigiByte Bounty Fund. We fixed a bunch of things with Android and iOS. All the way back in 2018. So clearly, I've been doing these for a little while now. And although I don't deem them official, like I'm not official, let's be honest. All other channels are unofficial. Who the fuck decided that? Because I certainly didn't. Please reference Gitter for official DigiByte development projects and bounties. Now the hard part is, if we come back here, so there's no discussion about it whatsoever. He says here that he's waiting for the pull requests and things like that, which is cool. Who's going to do all of the work though? And put all of that time into it, either to be unpaid or on the possibility that it won't be accepted. Who's going to do it? I wouldn't. It's not worth it. It's simply not worth it. In this instance, we know that Barry's basically a known quantity. Where are we here? Like I mentioned, he's done a whole bunch of this stuff already for us. It's already prepped and ready to go. Prog Power ran the mix. I've already paid him out for that. You can go and see the code. He's actually published it. So if we go to... Where are we? This is all of the stuff that Barry's actually been working on. He's already done a whole bunch of stuff. Really important commits and things like that. Fixed up Dandelion so it works on Bitcoin 0.21. Fixed up the core wallet so it launches in 40 seconds instead of like 5 to 10 minutes. I even fired it up on an old laptop the other day, and it literally took 20 minutes to fire up. That's now gone, and it's like 40 to 60 seconds kind of thing on even a slow device. Fixed up our multi-algorithm consensus setup, basically just kind of merging it all into one better place. Yeah, so he's been busy. He's a known quantity at this point. The best part is, you don't like it, don't donate. It's pretty simple, I would think. If you're not interested, that's cool. There's absolutely no stress. Like, at no point in here have I said you must donate. If you don't want to see that stuff, cool, don't donate. No one cares. It's fine. It's appreciated. But it's not mandatory. So anyway, a couple of people have basically decided, and in fact I know there's 4 people behind this DigiByte coin. What we should do is actually come back here because Jared says here, it's good to know you still want to keep publicly grinding a pointless axe. You should probably understand that I didn't make that tweet and was not part of putting it out. That was from a group of people clarifying unease about publicly soliciting donations. So I haven't actually seen anybody in the public uneasy about that kind of thing. I've had 2 people come to me and say, oh, what if it is misconstrued and if the public happens to be uneasy? But that's just like hypothetical what ifs. I haven't actually seen anything about people going, I'm not comfortable with this. And if so, good, don't donate. That's pretty cool. It's pretty straightforward. Marco Pasha asking the good questions. I was happy to pay thousands of DigiByte for ProgPower and RandomX algorithms. I don't understand why you people block that upgrade. You didn't do anything for DigiByte, but you prevent. What happened to Libra? What happened to Vesti? What are you actually doing for DigiByte? The thing is, if I come back here, I asked Jared something. I said, so are you going to publicly support this fundraiser now? I'm sure Barry would be most grateful for any additions. Jaybird's actually made a good point here. I haven't seen this. Isn't that the point of decentralization and grassroots movements? Not about needing permission from anyone to take action, is what the project is about, right? Who else was or is going to reward the persons actively working on the project? Jaybird, that's a really bloody good point, mate. Like, that hits the nail on the head right there. I'm going to go like that. That's the point of it. Like, why do we need permission from one of the 4 people that are behind this tweet? So what we know, allegedly Jared's not actually part of this. But he hasn't condoned it either. So it's about what's not being said there. Because he hasn't come back and said, yeah, sure, I'll support Barry. Like, he's literally been tagged in it. We know there's a whole lot of people here talking about it. Nothing, though. He hasn't said he's going to support the fundraiser. He's just not for it. He's not against it. He's just kind of playing the field, you know? What did I actually say here? That was right. The issue, not with the dev process, but I take issue with the definition of official. That's what I take issue with. Official. What we're doing is, so previously we were using the DigiByte pipeline in GitHub. You'll have noted a bunch of videos where I mention it. We're changing that from a no to a yes. These have also been a yes for the last, like, 6 to 12 months now. Has anybody at any point stepped up to say no? Have there been any changes to remove them? No, not at all. We did fundraisers. They're here. Anyway. So, the problem, GTO90's basically said we're not talking about algorithms, we're doing this before we talk about algorithms. Who the fuck made him God? I certainly didn't. And I guess that's the part of it, is we don't actually have to listen to this. We're not obligated to in any way, shape, or form. We can go elsewhere. We're a permissionless blockchain. We don't actually have to take that shit. We don't have to take this shit either. Like, we really don't. Now, again, I'm not official. I don't claim to be official in any way, shape, or form. But what I do take issue with is DigiByte Coin, and specifically the people behind this account, intentionally insinuating that I am unofficial and that I shouldn't be supported. That's what's being said here. Any other discussion on other channels is unofficial. Like, don't go there, don't support it, it's not official. Why the fuck isn't it? We've done all of this. We've raised a whole bunch of funds for Barry. We've done tons of other stuff in the past, and there's never been any problem with it. If you don't like it, don't support it. That's cool. Actually, what we should do, let's quickly bring up... Can I bring up my profile? I know this is absolutely unofficial in every way, shape, and form, but if we scroll all the way down here... are we? 237 people on Twitter. Now, again, I mentioned this is just for curiosity's sake. This is not official. We know the needs, we know the wants of the project and things. This is just me being curious. A lot more people seem interested in ProgPow and RandomX. I put this at the end here specifically just not to try and weight it in any way, shape, or form, but 73% of people, people are clearly interested in this. We've fundraised, we've had support, it's been reshared. The issue now is this. This is the problem right here. Any other discussion on other channels is unofficial. So, for starters, pretty mad about this. I think you should be too. And in fact, I think the people behind this should be apologizing, even if they're not the person individually who made that tweet. Because this is horseshit in every way, shape, and form. There is no official in a decentralized project. And if they try to centralize, fuck them. Let's go elsewhere. We don't actually need to adhere to those development guidelines. There's nothing stopping us from releasing another version of Core Wallet without them. Would that fracture things? Probably. Would we be fixing security of DigiByte? Yeah, absolutely. We'd be improving it in a number of ways. DigiByte as it stands right now needs to be fixed. There's a number of things. We've discussed them. Even just things like this invalid supply curve. It's got to be fixed. It's going to be a hard fork no matter what. It has to be a hard fork. So we might as well fork and include the other stuff at the same time in the same version, so people only have to do one single upgrade. What really grinds my gears, though, is the insinuation that these guys are active. They're not. They're full of shit. And I'm sick of it. January 26th, AutoCrypt version 1.1. I've been talking with BlackMiner, who are behind some of the FPGAs that we use for AutoCrypt. They're some of the most optimized hardware, and even that is struggling at the moment to be practical on finding AutoCrypt blocks. So this is one of the guys from BlackMiner. So there was me, there was Barry, there was Yoshi, there was Matthew was involved in it, there was Wind from AutoCrypt, and we had a bit of a discussion around the idea that you could modify the current AutoCrypt to ensure that if there was currently an ASIC, it wouldn't work. If there wasn't an ASIC, it's not going to matter because it's an FPGA, and it's being reprogrammed every 10 days anyway, so who cares? So we went through and we've done this. Now, this was January the 26th. Now, this is the development process in action here. You'll note who is part of it. Matthew and Barry. They've added feedback, they've given some details on it, they've recommended some fixes. Yoshi renamed it back in April, which was cool. That was something, better than nothing. But that's about it. Where the fuck is Jared? Where the fuck is GTO 90? They're not there. They haven't been. In fact, we can even go back. Let's go have a look at DigiByte. Let's go and have a look at all the work that was actually done. Feature 8.19.0. Most of the work was originally done. There was 1 day's worth back in January 2019, right before COVID. January 2019. I was on a video call with Digi Contributor and Jared. Oh, they did some more stuff the next day. Some small fixes as well. Nothing since. January 31. Gone. Nothing. Nothing since. So it was a whole 12 months. It's now been 18 months. Nothing. You can understand why I'm mad that they would now say any other discussion on other channels is unofficial when they haven't been around. And this question being asked, where is it? Where is that question? What are you actually doing? Do something or get out of the way. These are some really good questions as well, by the way. Actually, Script Skynet says, what if we raised the funds and paid out once it was accepted? Script Skynet asked some really good questions, and unfortunately it doesn't work that way because it might not specifically be accepted. They might stonewall and say no. What we can actually do is if we come back here, we can see everybody who's got privileges to do this kind of thing. These are the people. So back in January of 2021, yeah, that's this year, Jared removed all of my privileges to the DigiByte. He labeled me enemy number 1. Said it was a liability. He also removed Nigel, Murad as well. We've got access still to other things, so we can update the pipeline. But at the moment, the only people who have the access to actually make any changes and decide either how the process will be accepted or to remove people completely and give them additional privileges. We got Jared there, and we got GTO90, and we got Gary, who's Digi contributor, not to be confused with Barry. And that's it. That's it. They've said we want people to come along. We want more developers. Well, we've got a developer. Where are we? Where is it? Here, Barry. This is all the stuff that Barry's been doing. He's there. They're saying we want more people. We want this process so people will get involved. Barry's here. Barry's involved. Where's this other one gone? I've gone and lost it now. Let's go up here. Barry is here and Barry is involved. The guys from Black Miner are here. They are involved. It's now been 6 months and there hasn't even been an acknowledgement. There hasn't even been an acknowledgement. Yoshi's about the only one who's actually contributing. Jared's not. GTO90's not. Digi contributor's not. So let's ask ourselves some hard questions. This isn't pretty. Yeah, we could actually move away. We could tell them to get stuffed. If they're causing problems that are going to affect the security of the blockchain and they're unwilling to address it, I don't think we should actually pander to them. We've given them... I raised these issues in a very vocal manner with them. In private now, back in January. This was when Jared first threw his toys out of the cot and labeled me public enemy number one, basically, for the project. I'll actually... Let me bring up this... Let's bring that up, because this needs to be brought up. This was 7 months ago now. I told them that we needed to sort out our security. I told them we had problems with our supply curve. So this was taken all the way back in January. I will keep working on 8.21. For the time being, I have revoked Joe's GitHub access and will continue working on upgrades. The mere fact he refuses to communicate and won't let me talk to other devs and clearly has issues make me believe he is now a major threat to the core protocol. And since this is clearly a one-sided chat, I'm done in here for the time being. The rest of you should encourage him to take a vacation and chill out. I will not tolerate his petty childish bullshit any longer. That was back in January. For the record, at that point in time, Gary had already been and jumped in a chat with them. Barry had jumped in a chat with Gary, Jared, and GTO90. He showed me some of the screenshots, and to say that Jared was hostile was an understatement. So he revoked my GitHub access, which I don't actually mind. I don't need to be part of that. It doesn't actually really bother me. I quite enjoy preferring what I do instead. And there's no need for it for me to have that kind of access. Everything works just fine. But the problem here is what is official versus unofficial. Where are these other improvements that they're talking about? Where are these other bounties? Official projects and bounties. Where are these bounties? I haven't seen anybody else from DigiByte do one in the last 4 years I've been around. So let's think about that. Could we tell them to take a hike? Yeah, absolutely. We could carry on development without them. We could release a version without them. We could tell them that they are stopping the progress and basically carry on elsewhere. It's entirely possible. So I think this is a bit of a wake-up call. I think they need to be a little bit more realistic here. I think the community also needs to know exactly what's been going on with Jared and that kind of nonsense. The funny thing is I'll just kind of clarify there, even after that, even after he made that tweet, despite the fact that I can't stand all of his alt-right-wing bullshit, I still unblocked him for long enough to help create him a server and get it set up for his Libra discussions. Nothing happened with that. Doesn't matter. I still put aside all my differences, unblocked him, helped him out with it. I still even invited him on for the 250th DigiByte update video, which we've just done recently, which was really good because Matthew proved that Jared doesn't understand how multi-algo works. He feels that we have sharding, which we don't. Matthew's on the money there. He doesn't understand how multi-shield works either, which is a little bit of a disappointment. So, yeah, it's time for a bit of a wake-up call there. I don't blame him for not understanding it. It's difficult, and I've had misconceptions about it in the past. It's only for the fact that I spent a lot of time talking with Mental Collats and working with the Bittrex and Circle cryptographic specialists that I actually got a better understanding for how it works. It highlights that we have inefficiencies and things, like places where we could be doing better with our community education, but, you know, there's still that. Either way, official, unofficial, where are these other projects and bounties? How are we going to fund it if we don't do any kind of fundraiser? How are we going to get people involved? The people that we have got involved, why are they not talking more with them? Why are we not having any kind of acknowledgement here? In 6 fucking months, Jared hasn't said shit. GTO90 hasn't said shit. Let's think about it. What's official? What's not? I'm not official. I don't want to be. I don't claim to be. I take issue that this does. I think they owe us all an apology. I'll talk to you in the next video.